Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. And before we get to our guest today, we have a big shout out for Living Sisu. Living Sisu is a platform and app that wants to give you all the tools to have success in your sport. Their main objective is to activate your lifestyle. So it's for active people. Enjoy discounts at companies like BioSteel, 30% off, Body Logics, the Goalie Guild. All his books are discounted. Roan, Lululemon for men, 20% off. Online stretching programs with Eccentrics, 1 full month free. They got super silent massage guns, 20% off those. And it's a great quality. It's way less expensive than a Theragun, and it's great quality. So there's so many more discounts that you guys will need to just become a member to see. So they want to provide you with anything you need for success. So come join the community. I'm a part of it. A bunch of other athletes are a part of it. So it's free to join. It takes 20 seconds to get exclusive offers to your sport, and it's definitely worth it. So do us a huge favor and go sign up for Living Sisu's membership. It's free, takes 20 seconds. So go do it, and we'll see you there. Living Sisu is a great company. We know one of the co-founders, Zach Fricali. He's a great guy. He's the co-founder. He does a lot of live streams on Instagram at Living Sisu, and with a bunch of elite athletes, and you learn a lot from like the athletes' determination, their resiliency, everything to what made them become successful. So it's been a great experience so far. So go on. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So go sign up. Yo, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and in today's episode, we are joined by a very special guest, current Huntsville Havoc SPHL goalie coach, Brett Schaffer. Brett is currently a goalie coach with the Huntsville Havoc of the SPHL, Southern Professional Hockey League, and the Florida Atlantic University ACHA Division III team. He is also a USA Hockey goalie development leader in Florida and president and lead instructor for the Puck Stops Here goaltending. So really excited to have you on, Brett. So welcome to the show, Brett Schaffer.
Thanks for having me on, Jack.
Yeah, no problem. So how have things been for you? Because we're in these really crazy times right now. So what's been happening with you?
Same as everyone else, different circumstances and doing everything a little bit differently this year. Wasn't on the ice for probably 3 months because of COVID. And I work out of the Panthers practice facility. So their restrictions there were a lot tighter than other just public facilities and rinks like that. So we had to wait a little bit extra longer, but just kind of getting back into the groove of things now with the mask on, really.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a weird time, but it's good that you're at least seeing some ice and just being able to train with the guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, just being on the ice, it's like therapy right now, honestly, with everything going on, just being able to get on the ice for a couple hours.
Yeah, exactly. So can you give our viewers a little background information on you, like when you got into hockey, what inspired you to get into hockey and coaching, along with where you are now and like your path?
Sure. So I didn't really have, I guess, an orthodox route. Neither my parents played hockey or no one really in my family had any history of hockey. I'm actually the only one born in Florida. Everyone else is from New York. And then it just so happened that I think for either my 4th or 5th birthday, someone bought me, and I don't even know who it was to this day, street hockey like set with some goalie pads and everything. And I strapped those on, and then the rest was history. I started playing probably for maybe 12 years. Got into coaching at about 16 or 17 years old, just volunteering around the rink, just doing whatever you can, helping out older coaches, helping out just goalies that are younger even than you, working at, the rec leagues or some of the travel leagues. In college, I started coaching at a rink in Orlando, did private lessons, clinics, things like that. Then eventually made my way back here after graduating from University of Central Florida. Made my way back down to Palm Beach Gardens and linked up with the FAU Owls about 4 years ago, and have been coaching with them, and then eventually made my way into the SPHL with the Havoc, and then here we are.
Yeah, that's an awesome path you took. So what was that path like to go from FAU to being the goalie coach in Huntsville and just being a professional goalie coach in the SPHL?
It's really just getting the kind of like how a player gets their reps in. It's getting your experience and getting your reps in as a coach. making sure that you have an idea of what you're doing and really honing on your craft, your philosophy of coaching, the way in which you coach, learning to work with different types of people, different types of goalies, and just learning the day-to-day operations of a hockey team, how it functions, and then the role that you'll play. Obviously, a goalie coach's role is a lot different than a head coach or an assistant coach. You're focused on two or three guys, where other coaches are focused on all the defensemen, all the offensive players, or just the whole team in general. So it's a lot of really just managing small groups of people and finding ways to keep them engaged, finding ways to keep them excited to come to the rink every day, finding new drills, things like that. But I would say it was a pretty big jump though from FAU to Huntsville.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, did FAU like help you like understand like going into like the pro level and just like how you deal with goaltenders, and then like what was that transition like going from like the FAU to coaching the pros?
Oh man, it was crazy. When I first joined up with FAU, I had really no clue what I was getting into. Um, and it was kind of like a rebuild. And to say a rebuild would be a really nice term. We had practice jerseys for game jerseys. We didn't have coordinated socks, things like that. That first year was an absolute mess. So it was really just trying to get things running again. But I'm really fortunate for coming in at that time because it really shows you, what you need to have a successful organization, whether it's from the pro level, the junior level, youth level, that you need to have the right people in place at every single position. Doesn't matter what it is, and you really can't discredit any position. And they're all so valuable to the team, from game day operations to social media managers to tickets and fundraising, alumni. There's so much that goes into it. And then for me, it was a really cool opportunity to not just be a goalie coach, but be involved with PK systems, power play systems, and just kind of learn and get a higher hockey IQ for how the rest of the other players operate, how they think. I spent my whole life as a goalie, so really that perspective is only the goalie perspective. So for me, it was a really good opportunity to learn the other, I guess, everyone else's position. So for me, that was invaluable. But it was a completely different atmosphere. At FAU, we had maybe on a really good day, 200 people at the game. There's speed bumps here and there. It's a club team, so it's not like it's playing for Notre Dame or Boston College where they have a full staff and you're catering to 20,000 fans. But then when we made the jump to Huntsville, I didn't really know what to expect as far as like the game day operations and fan interaction and the arena itself. But I was pleasantly surprised when you had 6,000 people there and they take their hockey pretty seriously.
Yeah, it seems like a lot goes into it. It's like, can you like take us more in depth of like when you were like working with the PK, the power play, and just being with the players and just noticing like where players want to go, want to shoot on goalies, just to help your goalies get a little bit of an edge there. Because as like I skate out too, and like it's a bit easier for me to pick out places like when I'm a forward shooting on a goalie because I'm a goalie, and like it's you notice stuff from there. It's like, can you take us through like your perspective from what overlooking the PK, the power play, and like how the players are shooting on the goalies?
Yeah, for sure. I had a really tough time in the beginning, kind of really trying to pick at people's brain because I was always looking from the goalie perspective. And then I had to basically recalibrate my way of thinking it. And it was pretty much thinking, how can I open up a goalie? How can I expose a goalie to not give himself time to get his feet set or not give himself time to find the shooting lane? And really the reoccurring theme is east to west passes inside the offensive zone. You want to make the goalies open up and make wide lateral pushes, whether it's a T push or opening up into a butterfly slide. But that and traffic and rebounds, the things that we take for granted and we talk about so oftenly that we don't really think are as important as we often stress they are. Get to the net, crash for the rebound. They really are. That's how you're going to get your goals. Crash the net for rebounds, getting them screened with some traffic or making a lateral pass across the slot. That's how you open up a goalie. And for me, it was kind of just, how can I look at it if I was trying to, let's say, attack another goalie instead of having to work with my goalies and come up with a game plan for them to be better prepared for the game. So it was pretty much kind of reverse your thinking. And now instead of trying to stop the puck, try and put the puck in the net.
Yeah, I really like what you just said there and just everything you went through to try to open up goalies and just like expose them a little bit there, but also like teach your goalies not to get exposed like that. So like what do you look for in goalies when you're either scouting them or like looking at them like live at practices? Like what do you look for in goaltenders?
I think, we had talked about this earlier, and that's consistency. It's guys that are making the most of the reps they're getting. Are they taking every rep seriously, or are they just kind of, joking off and not really taking it seriously? And that's probably the first thing I look for is just consistency in what they're doing. Is their movements consistent? Do they have the ability to skate first and foremost? But I also look at, their mindset, how their attitude is during the game. Are they getting too emotionally high, too emotionally low after a big save or after a goal? Um, and then obviously compete level. Are they competing for every puck? Are they making those second and third chance saves? Um, and really, can they come up in the clutch? Can they play at a higher level is obviously something you're always looking for when you're scouting. And then also is their coachability. Is there something that you see in them that if you could just work with them a little bit that you could bring it to the next level? Or do you think that they have unrealized potential that all they really need to do is just crank up their work effort, or watch a little bit more video, or work a little bit more off the ice in their footing and their speed? And then talking to their coaches, how are they off the ice? What are their grades like? What is their personality like? What is their relationship like with their teammates, their friends, their family, things like that. You want to get really into it because at the end of the day, you're recruiting not just a hockey player, but you're recruiting someone that's going to essentially be a part of your hockey family. You're going to eat with them. You're going to practice with them. You're going to travel with them. You're going to share a hotel room with them. So it's important that you know who you're bringing into the family.
Yeah, for sure. You want a goalie that you can trust that will work as hard as they can. Just be that guy that'll just do whatever they can to help them get better and help the team get better as well as like being consistent, like you said. So like what as like a goalie coach, like what is the most important thing a goalie coach can do for their goalies? Like how do you manage like a practice like when you go out there and like find drills that they could do? Like what do you do to help find those drills and help keep your goalies motivated?
I think first and foremost, you have to think about the fact that at the end of the day, they're going to be playing in the game, not you. And you have to do what's best for them and find ways to help motivate them. But more importantly, I think give them confidence going into whether it's a tryout, whether they're going into a regular season game. No matter what it is, you want to give them confidence in whatever it is they're doing. And that involves putting drills in place where they're going to have a high success rate, but also putting in drills that are going to challenge them on their weaknesses and give them an opportunity to get better at that. And that's going to be the biggest way, the biggest growth that you'll see in not just their development, but probably their confidence. If they're going into a game feeling confident, that's going to translate into hopefully a better game. And I think the last thing you'd want probably is a goalie going into a game unconfident. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, 100% there. And confidence is huge as a goaltender. Like if you're down on yourself, like you're not going to do good. If you feel confident in your playing abilities and everything, like you're most likely going to do good. Like sure, there's going to be things that go wrong sometimes, but for the most part, like you're going to feel fine, just be right up there with everyone else. So like when you do look at drills, like do you just find random drills on the internet, or do you just go like really into detail about like what drills, what do you want your goalies to get out of it?
Yeah, so I try and put, into every drill some type of movement, some type of read, and then, some type of secondary play where there's a rebound involved or something that's going to simulate a live game and really bring that compete level up. But, I'm definitely not just pulling drills off the internet. For me, it's mostly I have two things that I look at when I'm working with the guys in Huntsville or at FAU. I'm looking at a long-term plan, which is a development thing, whether it's I want to work on their stance or their movements in the crease, and that's a 3 to 6 month process. And then I'm looking at day-to-day things where if they had a bad game and they weren't cleaning up rebounds on their glove side or they weren't getting their stick as involved on low shots as they could have been, I'm addressing that right away. And I'm also working on things that they're doing really well. If all of a sudden they're starting to really pick up confidence in puck handling or stopping dump ins, or if they're working on controlling gut traps, and they're doing well at that, I want to reiterate that, and I want to reassure them and give them some drills where they can get even higher confidence levels going into that next game or that next practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Those just seem like it works hand in hand when like you guys both know what you guys are, what you want and how to be successful there. So like, what's your coaching philosophy like? And since you've been able to coach some really successful goaltenders like Max Milosek and Mike De Laverne, especially in Huntsville. So like, what's been like your coaching philosophy like, and then like being alongside with guys like Max and Mike?
Yeah, I think Mike just retired actually. So I'm gonna miss him tonight. But I think he taught me. For him, it was really like if you know Mike, he has absolutely no ego. There is no ego involved. And for a team, that's all you can ask for is guys that don't have an ego and are in it for the wrong reasons and are in it for themselves. And I kind of just I caught on to Mike's vibe, and that really caught on to me. It was no ego. So for me, it's really been open communication, trust, and then removal of that ego. We're not in it for ourselves. We're in it for the team. And, I think goalies understand that we're here really just to help them get better. That's what a coach's role is. And that's the only thing that really a coach is working on is to develop better players and better people and get the most out of each and every one of their players, and help them move up, whether it's the next level or onto their careers or whatever it is that they want to do in life. So for me, it's been relationships, communication, trust, things like that, and then removing that ego piece to it.
Yeah. So how important is it not to be too high or too low? Like going off the ego thing, just not having a big ego, not having a too low of an ego, and just being like that center line, not like overreacting or underreacting. Like how important is that to a goaltender's success?
Yeah, I think that's a huge piece to it, and knowing that there's always going to be highs and lows, whether it's in a season or in a game or in a period. There's going to be highs and lows, and it's just riding out that wave and having something to fall back on. Whether it's goalies that write a little something on their blockers that brings them back to center, or whether it's just like Holtby shooting the water up, that it's just a mental cue to reset. Finding a way to reset and be comfortable and be calm. For me, was always breathing as a player. Um, and I think as a goalie, I think really breathing is such a big piece to it. Just being calm, taking deep breaths in between a whistle, whatever it is that helps you come back to earth, so to speak, but really just remain calm. And you have to understand as a goalie, your players feed off your energy. If they see that you're nervous, they may be a little bit quicker to go into the corners and get pucks, and they may be looking to make the quickest play, not the smartest play. Um, you know, there's a big chain reaction when a goalie isn't confident, and it goes all the way back to the bench. The coach becomes hesitant with trusting them. The leash gets shorter for sure. So confidence and staying even keeled and just riding out the storm is a really important piece to it for sure, Jack.
Yeah, 100% there. And just going like from everything you've seen from college to the pro levels, like what do you think makes a goaltender so successful in the minor pro ranks, and just being able to move up and just be so consistent? Like what have you seen that really has made goalies so successful?
I think it's handling adversity, number one, because that's something you're going to face a lot, especially in the minors. You don't know if you're there for a week, if you're there for a month, or if you're there for the year. And you get thrown with a lot of different things, whether it's crazy travel schedules and sleeping on a bus or things like that. So it's definitely dealing with adversity and adapting, but it's having something that's consistent in your life, whether it's the way in which you go about your day, it's scheduling, whether it is your workouts, but you have to have some form of consistency. And whether that's your skating drills in the morning at morning skate it, but there has to be some type of consistency. And then I think it really boils down to obviously, the ability to play. If you can't play, you're not going to make it, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. And just being consistent keeps you in the league too, and keeps you moving up, because if you're not performing well, you're going to be gone. You're not going to be in that league for very long. So I like how you're touching on consistency, because consistency is huge as a goaltender.
Yeah, and I think that, consistency is something that has to last for a long time. If you have two really good games and then you go back into a losing streak, you need to have something that's going to help you bring you back. When you're cooking something and you find a really good recipe, the first thing you do is write it down, because you want to always go back to that recipe if you need help, or if you want to, if you want to tweak the recipe, at least you have the original formula. You have your meat, so to say. You have your bones, you have your muscle intact. But for me, it's the ability to really fall back on something, because there's going to be tough times. The game is going to knock you down. Life is going to knock you down. There's always going to be coaches and scouts telling you can't play at the next level, or, you're not ready. So you have to be willing to deal with that and be ready for it, really.
Yeah, for sure. And just going and just yeah, consistency and just from like everything like I've heard from goalies, especially like the relationships you build with your goalie coach, with your family, with your friends, like that also has something to fall back on. Like if you're not playing well, like go back to like family and friends and just spend some time with them and then come back and just refocus at the rink. Just take your time off hockey for a little bit and then just refocus. That seems to be working as well, and just like building the relationships with everyone around them and being with good people.
Yep. And that's really what it comes down to, is relationships and how you treat other people. Um, and, it's networking in a sense too, when you're reaching out to other coaches and scouts to try and get a tryout or whatever it may be. But yeah, relationships go well beyond hockey. Your hockey career is not going to be as long as your entire life. And it's important that you take the time to really reflect on those relationships and make sure that you're always working on them.
Yeah, for sure. We wish that it would be as long as our life, but that's not really reasonable there. But like, how important is like mindset for a goalie? Like, especially because like, especially after giving up a goal, like you got to have like a good mindset and just to forget about it. So obviously, mindset is a pretty important thing there. So what do you take about mindset?
Yeah, I think mindset is a huge, huge piece to it. I've had the chance to talk to Pete Fry before about mindset and how important it is. And really, at any level, mindset is a really important piece to it. But yeah, resetting after a goal, that's huge. Whatever it is that works for you, you have to find a way to reset. For a lot of people, they always talk about having amnesia after a goal where you just forget about it. A lot of goalies like to watch it on the replay, make a quick diagnosis. Okay, I should have cut maybe a little bit more to the right. I should have, stayed a little bit more patient on my feet. I didn't put the rebound in a good place. Okay, it happened. Move on. There's nothing I can do about it. But just really getting excited for that next shot is really probably what's most important.
Yeah, exactly. And whenever I give up a goal, like I literally just say, focus on the next shot. Like take a swig of water, spit it out, go to the corner, just then get back in my crease, tell myself focus on the next shot, make the next save, and it just regains your focus and totally lets go of like the goal you gave up and just to be in the present moment, which is super important as a goaltender as well.
Yeah, and goals are going to happen in a game. I'm not really a big believer in, like, having that mindset of you have to have a perfect play mindset that you're going to have a shutout, because it's going to leave you, if that's your mindset and that's your goal is to have a shutout every game, you're going to fail way more often than you're going to succeed. Shutouts happen very rarely over the course of a career, over the course of a season, and the ability to understand that it's part of the game, it happens, is a lot more important than just striving for perfection, I think. But obviously, I'm not saying don't try on a puck or it's going to happen, so let that goal in. No, obviously you're going to compete and everything, but it's the ability to know that it's going to happen. It's part of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And just thinking the mindset of a shutout, like once you give up goal, it's probably gonna break you. And just if you
Yeah,
can't get
floodgates
past that,
open.
yeah, exactly. So like obviously like on ice stuff is important as a goaltender, but off ice is pretty important as well. It's like what could goalies do off ice that can increase their game dramatically and help them reach that next level?
I think, especially now with COVID and not being able to get on the ice probably as often as everyone wants, it's finding ways to utilize that off ice time to get better. Whether it's in the gym working on a strength and conditioning program, whether it's working on plyometrics or flexibility and mobility. If you have any lingering injuries, that's definitely the time to address it and really make sure that you're 100%. But also finding things off the ice that are hobbies that help you relax and take your mind off of it. If you're thinking about hockey 24/7, there's going to be stress from it, especially when you're not able to get on the ice as we'd like to during COVID. So it's finding ways to relieve that stress. It's finding hobbies or things to occupy the mind. Um, it's watching video, it's watching film. It's maybe coming up with, okay, I can't be on the ice now, but I want to make sure I have a plan once I hit the ice. So what are the 5 things that I need to address the most this year? And then if I can't do it on the ice, what are some things I can do off the ice to address those things that I really need to work on this season? And communicating, talking to other teammates, talking to other friends in different leagues, and just kind of getting a feel for everyone else and see how they're handling it, and maybe taking a little bit from each person.
Yeah, exactly. I really like what you said there, and just finding like new hobbies and take your mind off hockey for a little bit and just focusing on your other hobby, and just because hockey's not going to be there your entire life. Like you can watch, but you can't play it your entire life. Like your career is not going to last that long, which sucks, but like it's reality. So it's good to get your mind off hockey for a little bit there and just switch some things up, and then going back to like just reaching out and talking to people. Like a lot of people in the hockey community are just there to talk, and they'll talk hockey with you or anything. So it's a really good community to be a part of, and just you could talk to pretty much anyone, just learn things from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's, maybe they're in a pretty similar situation with not being on the ice with COVID, but what are they doing off the ice to get better? What have they found has been something that helps them, even though they're not on the ice, help them for when they do get back on the ice?
Yeah, exactly. So, Brett, I want to take you back to when Huntsville won the championship 2018-19, I believe it is, right?
Yep.
So, like, how fun was that year just watching like Max and Mike and the entire team being so successful and ending up winning a championship at the end?
That was a pen and paper year for me for sure. That was my first year, so I was pretty much taking notes of anything and everything I could. It was really more of a learning experience for me, honestly. Um, I was really fortunate to be under Coach DeTulio, so I was just taking notes on whatever I could have that he was doing or Coach Stu was doing, how they address the team, how they conduct a practice or a team meeting, how they bring in players and talk to them, how they really build relationships over the course of a really long season and find ways to keep players motivated, but yet focus on the same goal. Um, but it was a really fun ride. Like I said, Mike and Max had no ego, but they still competed at practice and they still pushed each other. And then once it became game time, they were the best teammates that you could ever ask for. They're the first guy to pat each other on the back. Um, they talked to each other in between whistles, going over previous plays or just joking around. But it was a really fun experience to be a part of. And they were coming off a championship the previous year, so they still had that target on their back of everyone wants to take the champ out. So it was pretty cool to see every team really give their best. And then obviously the fan experience was really really cool for me as well.
Yeah, so that's just awesome, especially since they won the championship the year before. So like it's awesome that they were just the whole team bonded together and won that year as well. So like it's incredible how far a team can go from like year to year and just have that same target on their back and just same mentality and just keep on being successful and winning so many games.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to keep the same core guys intact, especially at the minor level when you're fidgeting with salary caps. It's hard just to keep these guys, for an extra year or two when you're getting up at 28, 29, 30 years old. If you're in the SPHL, unfortunately, you do have to sometimes think about long-term career over, short-term gain. And some guys have to retire. They have, obligations. They're having a child, or just they really need to really focus on their next career. So it's tough dealing with that sometimes, but yeah, it's a really special group to be a part of for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So how important is your goaltending partner and just being there, like seeing the guys compete like with each other and uh have that friendly competitiveness and just being able to compete against each other as well as being like really good friends off the ice and just being there for each other?
I think it's super important because at the end of the day, there's really no one else on the team that can really exactly relate to the types of situations you're going through. Everyone as a team deals with a loss, but obviously a goalie is always going to take that loss a little bit more on themselves and probably, the third line left winger. It's just the way that it is. So I think having that relationship to bounce ideas off and just handle stress together is important. And at the end of the day, you have to understand their teammates before they're competitors. So they're going to support each other as like brothers. And like I said, having Mike was really, really big for Max. Mike was a rookie the year before, won the championship. And then the next season, Max was coming in as a rookie, still having Mike on that team. So I think having Mike for Max was really, really important that first year for sure.
Yeah, that's just awesome to have that guy that just won rookie of the year and then have another guy that's coming up that played phenomenal as well, and just having that duo right there just battling it out every single day for a starting spot.
Yeah, I mean, it was like big brother, little brother, competing, but then they still love each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's what matters right there. And it's like how important is a routine? Like goaltenders having starting like a routine and just having like things they do like on game days, like before practices, like stuff like that.
Yeah, I think every goalie probably has their go-to things on the morning skate that they want to do. They have their go-to meals, their naps, their playlists on their iPhone or whatever it is. And then they have their own, whatever the drill is that gets them involved, whether it's a hand-eye drill or ping pong before taping their stick or, going for a walk around the stadium with your headphones on. Everyone has their own thing, but it's super important that you find whatever it is. And like I said, consistency. Find a plan that you can fall back on and always do. If one day you're warming up and doing a 2 mile run, and then the next game you're doing a 50-meter sprint, and then the next day you're doing something else, you're not going to find consistency. So I think having a consistent plan, and then probably the best tip I could give probably to a young goalie, or a beginning minor pro goalie is don't make your warm up too complicated. Make it something that you can do with limited resources available, because you're not always going to have the same resources at a home game versus an away game. You may not have the bike that you like on the away game. You may not have the amount of space that you like at an away game. So it's really just making sure that you have a couple things that are essential, that are important to you. Maybe it's a tennis ball or crossball on the wall, bouncing that a little bit, stretching it out, but making sure that your routine is consistent, but a little bit more on the simple side than, over exhausting for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. 100% there. And like we preach on consistency this entire episode. So consistency is huge. So Brad, I have a few more questions for you before
Sure.
we get this thing done with. So what's been like your biggest like moment or like your favorite moment of your coaching career so far?
Um, in my entire career,
Yeah.
it's probably helping FAU honestly really get things back on track. Before everything happened with COVID, we had a lot of momentum. We brought in some really important people, not just players, but people, kids that you want in the locker room, kids that really are going to motivate and energize other kids in the locker room and that are in it for the right reasons. And I was really looking forward to this season, obviously, but probably helping them come from practice jerseys and not matching game socks to looking like a legitimate program.
Yeah.
And probably watching Mike play in his last couple games. Looking back on it, we didn't know that those were his last games because the season cut short, but just really loved his compete level his last couple games in last season for sure.
Yeah. So how special were those moments about just watching Mike those last few games, even though you didn't know at the time that it was going to be his last year? So like was like the moment or like your favorite moments about that?
I think you're just happy for him. You're happy to see him make the big saves. You're happy to see him get, the shutouts. You're happy to see him kind of get his curtain call with the fans. They really, really love him. And when you're with a guy like that, you know how hard he works and how supportive he is of Max. And Max was often in the spotlight last couple of years. So for Mike to come up huge those last couple of games was really exciting to watch. And for sure, I was the first person to text him. I was so happy for him.
Yeah, for sure. He had a great career, so congrats to him. So, do you have any last minute tips for goaltenders looking to get to that next level besides for the things we've already talked about?
Do all the little things right. Be a good person, be an outstanding person, because often that's going to be a really big piece to it. If you're good in the locker room, it can extend your career. It can help you move up to the next level. People are more willing to vouch for you and put their name on the line. So being a good person, um, obviously having a really high compete level, and you're going to have to do all the little things right. You have to be a really good skater, really good puck handling in tight when you have to make a play or a dump in, and really stop the puck behind the net. Puck handling is such a big piece to it, I think, because if two goalies are even and one can play the puck really well, that person's usually going to have a little bit of an advantage. But for me, it's being consistent again with your routines and really pushing to get better. 1% better every day is that term that you hear a lot. And I think it's important because you're not going to make a jump, from juniors in Florida to all of a sudden playing in Boston College overnight. You have to really put the work in and don't expect things to change overnight. But enjoy it. Enjoy the ride because you don't know when it's over.
Yeah, I love that. I love what you said there. So couldn't be more true from that. So like, where can people reach out to you if they ever want to get in contact with you?
I guess just if you want, I guess DM me in my Instagram, either mine or the business account, the Puck Stops Here Goaltending. They can shoot me an email if they want. Maybe you'll be able to post that or something. But
For
really, I
sure.
guess just shoot me a DM on Instagram or something. I probably check that every couple days, and I'll get back to you if something I can help you with or point you in the right direction with someone that can.
Yeah, beauty. So, Brett, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and knowledge of the mind of goaltending, and I love talking with you today. So, I want to wish you the best of luck going forward with everything, and good luck to the Huntsville Havoc tonight on opening night.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And Merry Christmas. And hopefully you get back on the ice too for some official games, not some adult beer league games. But I guess beer league is better than no league, right?
Exactly, and have a Merry Christmas. Hope your Christmas is good, and this has been awesome.
Awesome. Happy New Year.
Yeah, you too.